Hey everybody, it's Nick from Android Headlines, and this is our review of the Alcatel Idol 4S. So if you're familiar with the Alcatel branding, you might have noticed something missing from the name of this phone. It's the Alcatel Idol 4S, not the One Touch Idol 4S. So that means that Alcatel has officially retired the One Touch branding in favor of just using its Alcatel branding to sell its phones. That's not all though, as Alcatel has seriously boosted the quality of its build on this phone, giving a quality gap something like between the Galaxy S5 and S6, with this one being made of all metal and glass. It is seriously a gorgeous phone. The stylings of this phone might remind you of a few others out there from time to time, but its looks are unique enough to stand apart from the pack, especially at this price. With $350 to $400, depending on the package you select, you're getting the Idol 4S with specs that mostly match up to others in this price range. A Snapdragon 652 CPU and Adreno 510 GPU power the experience, while 3 gigs of RAM helps this one in the multitasking arena. A gorgeous 5.5-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED panel sits up front, while a nice-sized 3000 mAh battery resides underneath that non-removable back. It's also super thin at 7mm and feels absolutely premium in the hand in every way, from that glass back with its curved sides to the curves and lines along the metal frame and edges of the body. Really the only downside to this device's design, aside from the fact that it's made of metal and glass and is super slippery as a result, is the fact that the rear-facing fingerprint scanner isn't recessed in the phone's back. In fact, this fingerprint scanner was extraordinarily difficult to distinguish from the camera hump on the back, thanks to the fact that the reader isn't just made of glass, but the ring around the reader doesn't feel much different from the back of the phone itself. It's also not a particularly great fingerprint reader, and I found plenty of times that it simply wouldn't register my print on the first, second, third, or even fourth time pressing it, and sometimes even more than that. I've used phones with worse scanners for sure, but in this age of lightning-fast readers, it's really annoying to see this kind of performance. Something unique about Alcatel's marketing for the Idol 4S includes VR support built into the phone, and the VR package that you can buy for $400. This includes the phone itself, JBL earbuds, Incipio case, and an incredibly comfortable and well-designed VR headset. The lenses here are great, the head strap is ultra comfortable, and it weighs very little, as well as providing 2 buttons on the underside that allow you to interact with the VR world. Performance of the phone overall is about 2015 flagship levels with some hiccups here and there, but overall this means not quite perfect VR performance. On top of this, the phone has a Quad HD screen, which if you'll recall is 50% more pixels than a 1080p screen. While it looks amazing in VR thanks to the pixel density, the performance drop on higher-end VR games makes it a tougher sell than Snapdragon 820 powered devices. This really is a shame too, as Alcatel has provided an excellent interface for interacting with VR content, and a launcher that starts automatically as soon as you drop it in the headset. Some content performs really well though, so you'll just have to be choosy and stick with what Alcatel recommends on their VR store to ensure maximum performance. The AMOLED panel on the front is nothing short of fantastic and is really well calibrated out of the box, including a less saturated color palette than most AMOLED panels sport. If you'd rather have those super vibrant colors AMOLED's known for, that's easily adjustable from the options in the settings, and definitely ups that wow factor quite a bit. There's some cute little things here too, like an animation when flipping the phone 180 degrees, and a few other little goodies to find throughout. Speaking of interesting options and designs, the Idol 4S features a boom button on the right side that serves multiple, seemingly unrelated purposes. This button does everything from show live weather patterns when pressed on the default launcher home screen, to toggling virtual surround sound when watching videos, upping the bass when listening to music, and even acting as a hardware boost button when playing the latest asphalt racing game. It's a really weird key without a doubt, but sometimes packs some really useful functions, like double tapping to take a quick picture with that rear-facing camera. This 16-megapixel camera overall is a pretty good shooter, but not so much that instant mode. Overall, the camera software is pretty average when compared to most flagships nowadays. It features a handful of modes and takes shots super quickly, almost never delaying to focus or anything annoying like that. In fact, just about the only regular times that it chugs are when taking HDR or night shots, in which some scenes take an inordinately long amount of time to process the scene, although that shutter itself appears to be instant, keeping shots free from blur. This processing, although slow, is generally fantastic and does a great job of not only balancing the shots, but also preserving zoom detail. Daytime shots overall are pretty nice, but it could use a little bit help in lower light areas. I often got blurry photos when taking pictures indoors or in relatively low light, and overall this could have performed a lot better than it did. The front-facing camera was decent in most lighting conditions, but suffers from some pretty low dynamic range, meaning if you've got a bright background, you're likely to be completely darkened out. Thankfully, there's a front-facing flash to combat both this and low light in general, making this a pretty darn good nighttime selfie camera, but only half decent in the daytime. Video mode fares about the same as well, and while it offers 4K recording, there's nothing special about the quality. Digital image stabilization does a decent job of keeping the frame steady, but nothing worth writing home about. And overall, this ends up being a pretty average camcorder when comparing with other similarly priced phones on the market. One thing many OEMs tend to forget about is that external speaker quality, but Alcatel certainly hasn't. The Idol 4S doesn't just feature dual stereo speakers on the top and bottom, these grills actually extend to the back as well, giving you some pretty incredible reversible sound that sounds almost as good on the back as it does from the front. These dual 3.6 watt speakers pack a serious punch and deliver audible bass that you can feel when holding the phone, and definitely provides a palpable bass line in songs. It's also crazy loud, and with that virtual surround sound, it delivers some seriously excellent external audio that's not challenged by many phones out there, especially ones costing $400 or less. On top of that, the popular Max Audio equalizer is here and works in harmony with the hardware, providing an incredibly well-balanced audio output that can be adjusted on the fly, even straight from the notification shade. This powerful EQ made its first big smartphone appearance on the OnePlus One and has only been improved since its implementation there. There's no aptX support, which means plain old Bluetooth audio though, so if you're looking for a high-quality Bluetooth audio streamer, you're going to have to go elsewhere. While there are tons of highlights and positive points to the Idol 4S, there's still one massive disappointing factor that's likely to kill this as a purchasing decision for many: battery life. Considering this is a 3000 mAh battery and a mid-range Snapdragon 652 processing package inside, you'd never expect to struggle to get 2 hours of on-screen time in any given day, yet that's consistently what I found. I literally never reached 3 hours of on-screen time in the week-plus review period, and the FutureMark battery test backed that one up, showing only 4 hours of maximum operating time. There's no masking this one. This battery life just plain sucks. With all that said, you'll have to be the judge if the positives here are worth your hard-earned $350 or so. While that $400 VR bundle is definitely tempting and offers lots of value, especially if you're already planning on buying a case or need new earbuds, the phone itself feels a tad overpriced for what it is. Considering the rest of the Idol line has come well under the $300 mark, the $100 or more price jump on this model doesn't necessarily feel worth it in every respect, but the differences like a quality AMOLED panel, excellent sound output and dual speakers, and a seriously quality build might just be enough for some to make the jump. Couple this with a boatload of software features and great VR support, and you've got a great contender in this price range, but one that's ultimately going to suffer from performance problems when compared to phones like the Xiaomi Mi 5 or the OnePlus 3. We hope you enjoyed that review and will subscribe to us for more content. Check us out on your favorite social media site and check out AndroidHeadlines.com for 24/7 Android-based news coverage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.